biggest, the focus is on being the best. The focus is on you, the FBO. The focus is on the product. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But forever is different. But you know what? You're also a little bit different. You're also doing something that maybe you thought you would never do. Think about it. Right now, think about before you became an FBO in Forever. How many of you thought that I would never do that? How many? Many of you. I know that there's husbands here right now that their wives joined, or that there's husbands that have joined and their wives thought, either way, maybe there's more husbands that thought, you're crazy, what are you doing? How many here are in that situation where maybe someone in their family or their spouse thought you were crazy? No? But look what being a little different, look what doing something that you're not used to doing has done for you. Maybe you're someone that you never dreamed of. I love many of you, I know many of you love to travel. Who likes to travel? And how many of you dreamed about going to the places that you've been to with Forever, before Forever? It's amazing what we can do, how we can stand out. Do you see that elephant? Does that elephant stand out a little bit? It does. It does. That's what our business can do for us. We can stand out where people are going to question, wow, why does that elephant have stripes? Why are you so happy? What are you doing to look so good, to feel so good? There's so many ways that Forever helps us stand out, to be a little different. Now, also, the global reach that we have in Forever. Forever is around the world. And I know many of you have friends or family that are maybe outside of Asia. I know many of you have built businesses or are building a business that have reached across the entire world. And that's what's great about Forever, is because not many companies around the world have the reach like Forever has. We also have amazing products and an amazing opportunity. And I think that speaks volumes for who we are in Forever. One of the things, being a part of Forever for so long, I've seen firsthand the energy, the time, and the investment that goes in to producing our products. The number one focus is always quality. Always, always. It's never the bottom line. If the bottom line doesn't work, and we have to sacrifice quality, then that's a product we will not consider. Now, what makes us different? We're vertically integrated. Not many companies can say that. Right now we have an incentive that's called Level Up. What happens if we level up? Where are we going to visit? Our aloe farms in the Dominican Republic. Who's been there? I know some of you have. Some of you have been there before. But we are vertically integrated from all the way from the plant, the farms where that plant is grown, all the way to you. We control that process. That makes us different. Our aloe vera, that makes us different. How many other companies have an aloe vera like Forever's? None of them. Nobody. Nobody does what we do, or can do what we do with Forever. Right? Thank you. We have award-winning products that we can be proud of, that have received recognition awards around the world in different countries. And it's amazing to think, as we consider products, and of course, unfortunately, not all of our products are everywhere. Unfortunately, here in Malaysia, I know there's products that we don't have, but it is our mission to make sure that you have the best and all of the products possible. And in fact, I know that we continue to work on products for here in Malaysia. Also, what makes us amazing is our incentives. Many of you have come up on stage and have been recognized for incentives such as Eagle Manager, Forever to Drive, our Global Rally Incentive. A lot of things that we can achieve, a lot of things that create excitement. But I would say today, out of all of them, the one that I really enjoy doing every year and seeing and being with people is the Eagle Manager Incentive, the EMR. Hopefully you're working on that. I know that this year we're going to Pattaya. We could probably get there in a boat. It's really close, right? But next year we're actually going to be on a boat, on a cruise. And let me tell you, we've done this one other time and it was an amazing experience. But we have amazing incentives, things that you can look forward to, things that you can build your business around. India next year. Anybody going to India? I would imagine we have a lot of Chairman's Bonus qualifiers here. A lot of 1.5, 2.5, 5K qualifiers. We'll be going to India. I've been to almost everywhere in the world, but I have not been to India. I'm looking forward to it. India, I think we recognized as the #2 country in the world last year, so they're on fire, so it will be an amazing event. I think we're expecting somewhere around 20,000 FBOs there at this event, so we're excited about that. I talked a little bit about rocking the boat. And then, of course, what makes Forever different is our family. It's interesting. I've known Greg for many, many years. I actually started this business with Greg inviting me to join Forever. I think it was almost 30 years ago that he invited me to join. And it was 29 and a half years ago that I actually joined. But I have to say, as I've traveled around the world, as I've got to know so many people, Forever truly is a family. It's somewhere that we can always go and feel accepted, feel comfortable, but also feel encouraged to do things, to achieve more than maybe we feel that we can do. And that's why I think when we think about what matters most, I want you to think about that. I want you to think in your lives what matters most. Is what matters most to you what's happening on the news? Does that matter most? Does what matters most what's happening in another country? No. What matters most to you? That should guide us. That should lead us. And I think and that's what's great about, when we think about our Forever family. We're a Forever family, but what should guide us is what really where we see ourselves. And don't let those distractions keep us away. Now, if you think about your plan, what is your plan in Forever? Maybe if you were a new manager, your plan is to become an Eagle Manager. Maybe if you're just starting right now, your plan is to become a supervisor in the next couple months. I will tell you something, though, it's never as easy as we think it is. It's a simple plan, but it's not easy. We can't just sit back and just expect somebody or something or to achieve something without doing anything. But I do, as I mentioned, the reality is there are a lot of distractions. Do you feel like this sometimes? Do you feel like, wow, it's going really well, and then all of a sudden, maybe a little fall? But this is the reality. We've all seen that in our lives, maybe raising children, maybe with family, or in business. And it's the same in Forever. We see ups and downs. I think if you talk to all the leaders you saw many of the leaders here today, that were CBM qualified for 10 or more years. You know, if you ask them, I would imagine they've seen a lot of this in their business. It happens. Nothing ever goes according to our plan. However, that's why what matters most is so important, because we keep our eyes ahead. We keep our eyes on what we want to achieve. Now, direction. You know, I love this photo because when you think about someone that's running a race, what is their goal? Of course, they want to win the race, but they always want to improve their time. That's the whole point of running races. You run as fast as you can to get to the end. But when you think about mountain climbers, what is their goal? Is it to do it the fastest? No. What is their goal? To reach the top. That's the goal. That's why I love, you know, when I think about mountain climbers, I think, man, you're crazy. But there's something in them, some drive to reach the top. And it doesn't matter how fast they get there. It's just as long as they keep going up. Now, I'm going to share a little, I want to share just a little story. And maybe you've heard this before. But I think it speaks to our lives, what happens. How many of you know negative people? We all know people that are negative. We all know people who maybe they don't have direction, and so therefore maybe they think that there's no way, and so they discourage people from doing things. They discourage you from taking risk. They discourage you from being happy. Well, I want to tell you a story about this one lady. She had a dream, and her dream, and maybe, you know, many of you have certain things in your life that you want to achieve. But I love the story of this lady who had a dream. Her one dream in life since she was a child was to travel to Europe, from the US to Europe. She was Catholic, and she wanted just to see the Pope. And I can imagine maybe whatever religion or whatever you believe, and maybe there's certain people, certain places that represent something important for you. And you can only imagine, you know, it's important maybe to visit those places. Well, this was important for her, to visit, and just to visit and to be able to see, to visit more with her religion, but to see a speech from the Pope. And so her whole life, she hadn't been able to do that. But finally, she saved up after years and years and years and years of money, of waiting. She finally saved up enough money to make this trip. So what does she do? Just like many of us do, especially women, before they go on a trip or somewhere, you go to do what? She went to get her hair done. She wanted to be perfect, so she goes to get her hair done to a beauty shop. Anybody here go to a beauty shop? Or a barber? Yeah? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you do. Everyone's smiling. So she went to this beauty shop, and she wanted to get her hair done and her makeup done. And so she goes, and she spends a lot of time there. And the lady cutting her hair and doing her makeup says, "Do you have a special event?" And the lady says, "Yes, it's been my dream to go to Rome to see the Pope. And so I'm going to do that." And the lady says to her, "Well, you shouldn't go." And she's cutting her hair and putting on her makeup. And the beautician tells the lady, "You shouldn't go because anytime I've traveled, I always have lots of problems. So let me tell you what's going to happen if you go on that trip." And she begins to tell the lady, if you take the trip, you're going to go to the airport. And at the airport, who's been to an airport before? You're gonna wait in line, and there's so many people that you're gonna get there and they're gonna say, we're sorry, no more, the flight's oversold. And you're gonna have to wait for the next flight, maybe tomorrow. And the lady says, well, it's my dream, I'm gonna go. And the beautician says to her, but that's not all. Because every time, after you get there, you're gonna get to Rome and you're gonna be at the airport. And you're gonna be waiting for your luggage. And what's gonna happen? Your luggage won't come because they always lose luggage. And the lady says, it's my dream. I want to do this. And then the beautician continues to tell the lady, whoa, but that's not all. Because it always happens when I travel. You're gonna get a taxi, and they're gonna take you, and they're gonna charge you a fortune because you're a tourist. And then you're gonna get to the hotel, and they're gonna say, we're sorry, there's so many people here, we don't have any more rooms, even though you had a reservation. And then after all of that, the beautician tells the lady, you're gonna get, and there's gonna be thousands of people. The Pope's gonna be up there, and you're gonna be in the very back, jumping up and down, just trying to see the Pope. And she says, it's not gonna be worth it. And the lady says, it's my dream. So what happens? The lady decides to take the trip. 4 weeks later, she comes back. She goes to the beautician. And the beautician says, would you like your haircut? Oh, no, I just came back to tell you about my trip. Oh, you took the trip? Yes. And the beautician says, so how did it go? The lady says, almost exactly like you told me. I got to the airport, waited in line, I gave them my ticket, and they said, we're sorry. The flight is oversold. But there is another flight, let me see. Okay, it leaves in 2 more hours. Is first class all right? The lady says yes. So she flew in first class. The beautician's, whoa. Then she arrives. She's waiting for her luggage. What happens? Her luggage doesn't arrive. The beautician says, I told you, but wait. The airline felt really bad because they could tell I was really excited to be there. And so they gave me $1,000 to buy new clothes. The beautician, wow, I've never heard that. She gets in a taxi. The taxi driver gets lost and says, I'm sorry, this is my first day driving a taxi. They get to the hotel and the taxi driver says, I'm sorry, I won't charge you. And the lady says, gives them a nice tip and says, thank you for showing me the city. Gets to the hotel. The hotel's oversold. Just like the beautician said, except, we're really sorry, but we don't have your room tonight. But for tonight, we can put you in the presidential suite, and then tomorrow we'll give you your room. And the hotel asks her, is that all right? And she's like, of course. The beautician can't believe all of these great things that are happening to this lady. Now, after everything, where is she going? She wants to go see the Pope. So she goes, and there's thousands of people. The Pope is sitting all the way up there in the very front. She's in the back, jumping, trying to see the Pope. A few minutes later, someone comes up to her and taps her on the shoulder and says, how would you like to come sit up in front by the Pope? The beautician right now is, that's not supposed to happen. So she goes up and sits next to the Pope. Has an amazing experience. And the beautician asks the lady, says, why did they pick you above all the people? She said, that's what I wanted to know. So after it was over, I went up to the assistant and I said, I questioned, I said, why did you pick me above all of these people? And the assistant tells the lady, she says, you know, I saw you jumping. And out of all of these people here, you have the worst haircut. You know, it's interesting, and I love that as an example. It's kind of a long story, but it really does show. You know, when we think about what matters most, you know, what mattered most to her at that time in her life was to take a trip, something that she had wanted to do for so long. That's what mattered most to her. And along comes somebody to tell her that it's not worth it. You shouldn't do that. And what does she do despite everyone telling her that she shouldn't? She should just save her money. She didn't. And she had an amazing experience. She did things and she had experiences that she thought she would never have. And I think many times that's like forever. When we think about what matters most, as you think about what matters most and you work to achieve that, think about the things that you can achieve along the way, but also think about there will be times when it doesn't go according to plan. There will be times when someone tells us that you shouldn't do that. I promise you, I know most of you have probably had people like that in your lives before you joined Forever. And if you're new or you haven't joined, I promise you that there will be people that will say, that's not worth it. But we have to ask ourselves the question, and I really like this thought I want to share with you. And this is from one of our GLT members, and it's really interesting. This is what she told at one time with Greg and Aiden. But this is one thing that she shared, when she spoke at one of our rallies. She says, if it is not you, then who? If it is not now, then when? If it's not forever, then what? And that's by Kaltar, one of our GLT members. Think about that. If it's not you, then who? If it's not now, then when? And if it's not forever, then what? We need to take the courage to do things that are different. We need to take the courage to make decisions that will get us closer to what matters most. And that's what I love about this saying. If it's not you, then who? Well, it's going to be the next person. Because there's millions of Forever business owners around the world that are enjoying the benefits of our products and of the opportunity. So then why not you? Why not do something a little different? Why not step out of your comfort zone? Why not do something different when you think about what matters most that's going to get you closer to achieving that, to helping that, whether it's your family, whether it's certain goals or dreams that you have. Think about in your life what matters most and what you can do to get there, and think about then, if it's not forever, then what? This is an opportunity right now for us to do things, to achieve things that maybe we've never done before. And it starts now. It doesn't mean, things aren't always going as planned. Things will not always go as planned. There's always ups and downs. But if we think about what matters most, everything else doesn't matter. As long as we know and are doing the things that are getting us closer to what matters most. And so with that, I think about Forever. And I think about the opportunity that we have here at Forever. And 45 years, Forever. 45 years of Forever. There's not a lot of companies that have been around that long. And as we talk at the home office and amongst the executives, we feel we're just getting started. There's still so many people that need this opportunity. There's still so many people that haven't heard about Forever and the opportunity. So think today, what could you do just a little bit different than yesterday that's going to get you closer to what matters most? That's going to help you achieve those things that you set your heart to, your mind to. Because Forever has 45 years of partnering with Forever business owners around the world of achieving dreams, of doing the impossible. I was in Taiwan a couple days ago, and I was talking to a young lady, and she was telling me about the first trip that she went on with Forever. And it's interesting that she had never, even when she joined, had never dreamt, had never had a dream of traveling. And with just building her business, she was able to make a trip. It's something that she never even dreamed of. Now imagine if it's something that we dream of, and it's part of what matters most. Imagine what we can do. So with that, I want to thank all of you for being here, taking the time, investing your time into yourself, into what matters most, investing time into your team, into your group, into helping others. Because truly, as we look back 45 years, and I can look back, and I can literally see, and I can remember 30 years ago when I met Rex Vaughn for the first time, I really felt, and I felt ever since, that the number one goal of him, of Forever, is to help others. It was never about making money. It was never about being the biggest. It was helping others and being the best. So with that in mind, as we're centered on what is the most important thing, we'll find that balance and things that we need. I love the big buildings that you have here. It's amazing. We have nothing like this in the U.S. Of course, in New York, there's some tall buildings, but man, here it's amazing to see these structures, the engineering, and the balance that they've had to create for the winds and everything. It's amazing architecture. Well, we have the same opportunity in our own lives, in our own business, to create that balance, that architecture to build a solid business. And you've seen that today. So begin today. Do something different. Focus on what matters most. And I know Malaysia is going to be back to one of the best in the world. Thank you very much.
Berikan tepuk tangan yang paling gemuruh.